Joining us now for a World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning, Adefemi.
Good morning, Dr. Rubin. Good morning, Vimbai. And good morning, Rufai. Yeah, hey. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Eid Mubarak. Hope you guys all enjoyed the weekend. And I hope that for everybody celebrating Eid, hope this was a restful period. This was an excellent Ramadan, actually. So much restoration, so much peace. And so we pray that that continues throughout the year. Thank you both. That's actually very kind of you to greet me for Eid. Thanks so much. All righty, well, let me tell you what's happening around the world. Now, Sophie Chanduka, who is the chairwoman of Sentebale, a charity co-founded by Prince Harry, has accused the prince of harassment and bullying at scale. Now, Chanduka also said the Duke of Sussex unleashed what she called the Sussex PR machine on her earlier this week when he publicly quit as a patron of the charity along with co-founder Prince CSO of Lesotho, and as well as the board of trustees. Let's take a listen to what she had to say about that.
Prince Harry wanted to do was to eject me from the organization, and this went on for months. It went on for months through bullying, harassment of the Sussex machine on me and the 540 employees at Sentebale who received this and have had to defend it.
Well, by the way, when you say the Sussex machine, what are you talking about?
The PR machine that supports Prince Harry's efforts. The only way we discovered of his decision was through the Sussex machine activating newspapers.
Now, it's unclear what the specifics of this row are, but reports do suggest that there had been friction between the charity's UK-based staff and those based in Lesotho and in Botswana, triggered by Chanduaka's efforts to transform the charity and shift decision-making to leaders in southern Africa. She also says that Prince Harry wants to force the failure of the HIV/AIDS charity in order for him to come to its rescue. Now, sources on the side of Prince Harry have denied these allegations of bullying, so it is an unfortunate situation. Let's move on now. And we now know that more than 1,700 people have been killed, and there are fears of even more dead after Friday's 7.7 magnitude earthquake and powerful aftershocks hit Myanmar. Now, at least 3,400 people have also been injured, and many others are still missing. Poorly equipped rescuers and volunteers are digging through the ruins of collapsed buildings looking for bodies still. Now, fighting in Myanmar has also caused opposition forces to declare a unilateral 2-week ceasefire, but they still accuse the military government of continuing to carry out attacks. Meanwhile, the United States Embassy in Myanmar has issued a statement saying the US government will provide up to $2 million through Myanmar-based humanitarian assistance organizations to support the communities affected by the earthquake.
Okay, let's go straight to the story.
Okay.
What really happened was Sophie Chanduaka said that when she went through the report of the charity, she discovered that the moment Prince Harry left England and that row with the royal family started, donors started pulling out their support from the charity. And nobody was brave enough to be able to tell Prince Harry, because he was high-handed on the board. He would just bring people in and chuck them in and say, oh, I want this person to be on the board and all of that. And that was what was happening. So that caused a lot of row. And also the fact that it's an AIDS charity. AIDS is not as, in the news like it used to be in 2006. And in great respect to the works of PEPFAR. Once PEPFAR started putting that big fund as regards antiretrovirals and everything on the African continent, most of those numbers started to trickle down because of antiretroviral. That's the same money Donald Trump is about to take out now. And in all fairness, she was saying, let us evolve. Let us go to climate action. Let us go to things like, empowerment for young people and all of that. So, but the bulk of the matter was that assault on Harry. In fact, she even went ahead in that interview on Sky News to talk about a particular incident where they were supposed to get a venue for an event. And the person reneged on them because of Harry. But anyway, Harry came through.
Yes.
He got another venue because of his personality and all of that. So that's a big problem. So there's an internal squabble. Actually, there's a family issue. They are both sides of the story. A lot of people have discounted what she has said. As regards what's happening in Myanmar, very sad. The military has been very close all this while, because what have they done? they have consistently fought. As we speak, even despite the fact that there was a bomb and an earthquake, they were still bombing ethnic rebels within Myanmar and some other locations. And that's why aid agencies are telling them, you can't allow that happen.
Right.
The Americans have come in, given them about $2 million to some charity. But what is really happening is how can they get evacuation materials in there? The aftershocks went as much as Thailand, also affected parts of Bangkok and Thailand.
Yes,
and it's
China
very
as
sad
well.
how they can get help quickly.
Agreed. Thank you.
Yeah. Southeast Asia is, a part of the world that does scare me, and I think that's justifiable because there's an intersection of several tectonic plates there.
Tectonic ring of fire. That's what
Tectonic ring of fire, exactly. There's so much activity originally from the tectonic plates shifting and all that, earthquakes, volcanic activity, and so forth. However, now with the added layer of climate change, we're seeing that it's volatile at best. And unfortunately, Southeast Asia suffers a similar fate to Africa, some areas of Africa where there isn't enough support given, even when it comes to, because the poverty levels are so high, even when it comes to warning people. You can't really warn people that an earthquake is coming, but you would think that a part of the world that's so accustomed to these occurrences would have more mitigation measures in place. But unfortunately, when you see the images there, you can see that it's a largely poor, despite all of the tourism, despite all of the other economic activity, generally a poorer part of the world. So it's always so much more devastating when it happens because you know that they're so much more exposed to the dangers of especially climate change and the shift in tectonic plates. Now, to Prince Harry, so I, for one, always despise when family matters, if I may put them out, are aired out in public like this. So personally, I counted that against Sophie Chandaoka, who's originally Zimbabwean. But, her coming out to speak out and say she was bullied and she went through all of these things, I find it to be a little bit unfair. Why is it unfair? Because this is a charity that we know was created in honor of his late mother, of Princess Diana. So it's a sensitive issue. I don't think it's an issue that you come and grant exclusive interviews and, yes, fine, she feels that she has been slighted. She feels that she's trying to work for the better interests of the charity, but who would have a better interest of a charity that's created in the memory of your mother than the son, than Prince Harry, So I think it's an occupational hazard where sometimes we as employees or staff or members of organizations become more invested than the founders, forgetting that ultimately you are disposable. And at any moment, the founders, being Prince Harry and Prince Sesio of Lesotho, can wake up at any moment and say that, we no longer need your services. I think that you should just bow out gracefully and let them move on with their charity.
Thank you.
Okay, the situation in Myanmar is very unfortunate. Over 1,700 people dead, 3,400 displaced. In Bangkok, 1,000 kilometers away, where you had the aftershocks, 18 people are dead. It looks like natural disaster because Burma or Myanmar, as is better known, sits on what is called the Sangaying fault line between the Indian plate and the Burma template within that region. So earthquake. But this has been the worst earthquake event to have ever happened in Myanmar. And then, affecting other countries, even as far as West China, as far as India, just to show that ultimately human beings are at the level of nature. Even persons who were enjoying a pool,
that infinity
atop,
pool above, yes.
A hotel, a high-rise, a five-star hotel in Thailand, were even affected. So nature and man, we keep having this eternal conflict. But what is important here is that, look, the international community has moved in. We should applaud the intervention by India, by other countries, the United States, by the United Kingdom. David Lammy has just announced, I think, about £10 million intervention by the United Kingdom. You have Ireland, you have South Korea, you have all of these other countries, Indonesia, moving in to help. However, the second leg of it is the crisis in Myanmar itself, the political crisis. There has been, a military government in place in that place. So you have the military government that is in place. You have the resistance force.
Yes.
It is unfortunate that even in the midst of this crisis, that has not ended. And so it's so unfortunate that the international community is moving in, but Myanmar has not been able to put its fingers in the face of this crisis, humanitarian crisis, on its own problems. Buildings have been flattened, bridges have collapsed, persons have been displaced, and yet, what is important to the generals of Myanmar is their own political issues. That must be condemned.
Agreed. Well, thank you.
And so the other issue,
Yes.
which you raised, the Sentembale, which was created to address the challenges of people living with HIV/AIDS and other conditions in Lesotho and the whole of that region. This charity trust was set up by Prince Harry and Prince Sebo of Lesotho, both of them trying to honor their mothers. Prince Harry honoring his mother, Princess Diana. Prince Sebo of Lesotho trying to honor his own mother, Queen Mamhoto. And then, of course, you have this issue about integrity,
Yes.
about governance, and all of that. Let me say this. This is a very regular problem in Africa, particularly with management of NGOs, which at the end of the day become NGIs. It's an African problem. And I think that Prince Harry is in order, Prince Sebo is also in order to have said, look, we don't want to be tarnished in any particular way with the mismanagement that we have seen in Sentebale. It doesn't matter to me what Chandawuka is saying. The lady, she has even gone to court. But what is more important is that the British Charity Commission is beginning to look into this matter. I think it should be a lesson for all persons, for other NGOs, across Africa, that are meant to do good, but then run into governance structures. Because NGOs always try to come across as, oh, we are holier than thou. We are doing good.
We have to see.
But at the end of the day,
Yes.
there are issues in these NGOs and NGIs.
There are. Well, thank you all for your submissions. Let's move on to newspaper review. As ever, we begin here in Nigeria with the front page of This Day. Now, This Day does lead with President Tinubu's Eid message, in which he urges brotherly love while reminding Nigerians, that the country, Nigeria itself, is greater than any one of us individually. That being said, he did tacitly hint that the Minister of the FCT would lose his position if his development initiatives are tilted towards helping the opposition, PDP. We'll keep an eye on that. Moving on to the New Telegraph, though, it does lead with news that the National Assembly's House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee has recovered an additional $14.2 million. That's 21.4 billion naira. And they've taken that money from 4 oil and gas companies in its ongoing investigation into financial discrepancies in the oil and gas sector. Now, the committee has also issued a 20-day ultimatum to 4 companies, Total, Seplat, Aradel Energy and Network Exploration, to remit a total of $23.2 million. The Vanguard and The Punch, both of them lead with the Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa, strongly condemning the killing of 16 hunters in Edo State, vowing that the perpetrators will be brought to justice. And we do know that the governor of Edo State, yes, it got completely evaporated from my mind. Monday Okwebolo has also condemned the lynching of those 16 hunters. And then if we move on very quickly to United Kingdom, we just take one paper, the Daily Telegraph. And the Daily Telegraph reports that ethnic minority criminal suspects are going to be given priority by judges considering bail under a new two-tier justice guideline. And that has been drawn up by the Ministry of Justice. Essentially, judges and magistrates have now been told that they should prioritize the cases of ethnic minorities, women and transgender suspects, because they may be at disproportionately higher risk of being remanded into custody. controversial. Some people have welcomed that type of decision. I do think that it is a positive thing, but you can imagine that reactions have been mixed. As your papers.
All right, thank you so much for that, Adefemi. I hope you enjoy your holiday and share whatever you're cooking today.
Yes, we'll do that. And also I have to remind people that like the big Salah where you have meat, that one is coming up towards the end of May, early June, actually.
Sure.
But that's the one where like I'll flood this place with Salah meat.
We'll hold you to it.
Adefemi,
Yes.
be a good Muslim.
Yes.
If you flood this place with meat today,
Yes.
we are ready.
No problem. No problem.
All right, we'll take a short break.
Celebrate.
Celebrate.